Well, the last game here was Morecambe, ended in a 1-1 draw. I had to kind of remember that was my last game because it wasn't really the most inspiring or memorable game in a lot of respects, and it actually mirrored some of the home form that we've had during the 3.5 seasons that I've been here. But there have been some very good moments here as well at St James's Park that I've covered, but a lot of the memorable matches have come away from home, if I were to call sort of like my top 5 games.
So coming back round, can you remember your first impressions of the stand when you turned up your first game here?
Well, my first game, I actually came to St James's Park to cover a game for Pyramid Football, a website, non-league website, and that's going back to like 2004, 2005, and my memory's not that good to remember. But for the Echo, I remember coming here, and it was Colchester when they'd just been relegated to League 2, Exeter had been, and they lost here 1-0 to Colchester. And you look at this stand and you do think it looks quite old and quite dated. This press box we're in now isn't really big enough to hold the amount of media that come to cover games even in League 2, and certainly when Liverpool came here for the FA Cup game this year, there's 2 or 3 rows taken out in front of this press box to accommodate everybody. So it's kind of like a stand that served a purpose probably 20, 30 years ago, but it's certainly out of date now.
So how does it compare to some of the other away grounds you've been to cover matches?
York City's not great. That's a proper non-league ground, and certainly in terms of the press facilities, but I'm trying to think now. Bristol Rovers is certainly a step up, and you've got places like Gillingham have been there. That's quite a good press area. Yes, certainly when you rank the Football League clubs, Exeter I think would be low on the list of press facilities.
Right. So what's it been like as a place of work? Can you give us some insight to your match day routine here?
Well, I started working in the press box for about 2 or 3 games when I started working for the Echo, but then, like I said, it became too full, so I actually sit out in the row just in front, and they had to get an extension cable for me and Stu James, the Western Morning News reporter, so we could use our laptops out front. And with that, you're kind of in with the fans as well, so it's kind of quite cramped, and you have to try and nick an extra seat if you can nick an extra seat. But if it's a busy game, sometimes you're like this and quite cramped, and things in pockets, team sheets here, and it can be quite difficult.
So your best night here as a reporter?
Best night here as a reporter would be the Liverpool one, the Liverpool game. It was incredible atmosphere, a full house. I remember the Red Legion obviously unveiling that great display in the Big Bank before kick-off. Said hello to Alan Shearer because he was doing a BBC Radio 5 live piece before he went into the commentary box, which was by the Big Bank, and sat next to Ray Houghton of World Cup 1994 fame, when he lobbed the Italy keeper in the first game. So that was good to chat to him about that and the game as well. So there was plenty of famous faces, which kind of like made the day special.
Any other memorable games?
Obviously the Plymouth one that's just passed, when Ollie Watkins put the ball into the top corner in the last minute. That can be quite a stressful time as a reporter, because you've got to rewrite your whole match report when someone scores in the last minute. But certainly, when the team wins like that, you interview the players afterwards, and they're all quite buzzing about the game and give you good quotes as well. And it can be tricky when they get a bad defeat and you have to speak to them, because sometimes they're obviously they're a little bit down. I would put the Plymouth Argyle game up there, and also Scunthorpe. It's going back a couple of seasons now. Exeter looked like they were in relegation trouble, needed a victory to secure their Football League status, and Craig Woodman put a free kick into the top corner, and then after the game, it was about a 5-minute delay, but Scunthorpe learned that they'd been promoted as well. So on one side you had Exeter City fans celebrating that they'd stayed up, and Scunthorpe celebrating that they'd won the title. So it was kind of like a nice atmosphere in the ground on that April afternoon.
So where do all the post-match interviews take place hereafter?
A lot of it's done pitchside. I remember my actual first game when we came to the Colchester one. I went into the media suite to do the interviews, and I was stood there for about 5 minutes thinking, where's everybody else? And then Lou, the kit lady, came in and said, oh no, they don't do the interviews in here, they do it pitchside. So I ran out and just managed to get Tiz in time to speak to him. And yeah, they basically, you have to grab the players as they come out of the tunnel as well before they sneak around and get in their cars and drive off.
Right. Got through worst nights as a reporter here? Difficult games.
Yeah, it's difficult games. I'm trying to think. The Torquay one, which was only a couple of weeks before the Scunthorpe game, again in relegation trouble, and they lost here to Torquay 2-1, I believe, on I think it was Easter Monday. And they'd had a couple of good results before that, and you thought, well, they're going to beat Torquay because Torquay were either bottom or certainly in the bottom two, and you thought they'll get that win and they'll stay up. But that game was particularly disappointing because I think they were leading at half time as well, and then second half Chris Hargreaves' Torquay side just managed to turn it round and win 2-1. So that was a very bad day, and you've had plenty of 1-0, 2-0 losses. Likes of Northampton, when they were struggling, came here, won 1 or 2-0, and you get teams then that time waste as well when they're struggling down the bottom, and that can get quite frustrating and hard to break down. You sat there in the stand thinking, oh, not another half hour of this.
Can you think of any particular characters who sit near you on a match day here?
As Keith and Dave, who sit just in front of me in the row in front in the seats, Keith's a Spurs fan, so he generally lets us know how Spurs are doing, and Dave's quite critical of referees. He always shouts out to referees, but the biggest character, only about 4 or 5 seats up, is Steve Perryman, and he's always shouting out instructions like turn and closer and stuff like that, and you do get an insight into sort of like sometimes the thinking of the coaches and management team, because Steve's just on the end, and he also tries to get the crowd going, so he'll sometimes start his own chants as well, which can be quite amusing.
So have you had any kind of reaction from visiting press, visiting media teams towards Steve sat there?
A lot of the people that react to Steve know who he is, so they'll be Spurs fans, so they'll go, is that Steve Perryman? And they go, oh yeah, and they'll often go up and speak to him. I remember when you used to have the away fans in this area over here, and Steve can get quite involved in the game, and I remember him shouting out for a penalty, and I think it was Bradford, or certainly a northern team anyway, and when they shouted out penalty, a few fans from the opposing team started having a go at Steve, and I thought that's a bit uncalled for considering Steve's record in football and stuff like that, but well, obviously they might not have known who he was. So.
What's your opinion on the redevelopment? Would you be sad to see this come down and the ground lose a bit of its character, or do you think it's about time?
Well, I don't have the same connection as many people would have to this stand, because I've only been covering Exeter City for 3.5 seasons now, so I don't remember the days of perhaps watching Tony Kello sat in these seats or in this stand. So for me, I don't have that emotional connection to it. So when it comes down, I imagine some supporters will be sad to see it go, but it's been a long time coming, really. You look at this stand, and like I said, I think it served a purpose, probably 30 years ago, and it does look like a safety hazard if it carries on for another 10-15 years. It's probably an accident waiting to happen.
Did you say you'll miss working here?
No, I'm looking forward to the new press box and the new press facilities over in the Flyby Sund, and then once this ground's built, having some. I think from looking at the designs of this new stand and what it's going to offer, I think the fans that will be sad to see it go, that sadness will be replaced once they see how good the new facilities are.